Hello, hello. It is Ashley Janae, love and relationship coach for women. And welcome to my channel. It's been a little while since I have posted a video, but I'm being called back to this work. I'm being called to get active again. So, my apologies for my absence, but I'm here. And after some time off, some time away from content creation, from a lot of posting and things like that, because life be lifing sometimes, I'm back because I do feel like God is calling me back to pick this work up again. It's where my heart is, it's where my passion is. In the time that I've been away, there's been a lot that I've learned that I want to share. That I want to share with you all. So let me jump right in. So last year, I worked with a couple clients, and I just felt like personally, I just felt drained. I felt like I needed to pour more of my energy into myself and my own life and my family life. So I kind of stepped back from taking on as many coaching clients, from marketing as much. I still coached, a little bit behind the scenes, but I really scaled back my efforts. My website even went dark for a few months. It's back up, by the way, so check that out. FeminineLoveCoach.com, I believe is what it is. Feminine Love Coach. But what really was going on for me is so last year I was actually diagnosed with ADHD. And I've been in therapy for a few years now. This is not my first time in therapy. I've had a couple of other stints. My husband and I, we went to couples therapy at one point. I've gone to individual therapy. And my current therapist, I've been seeing her for a couple years now. And she actually has ADHD. And she's a woman of color. And she was able to just pick up on the signs and symptoms in me and suggest that maybe I should be evaluated. So I was, and I was diagnosed. And when I tell you that like opened a whole new world for me, I 100% mean it. I never thought that I could have ADHD. I've always thought of myself as, I've always been told I was sensitive, and I personally kind of always thought I was a little different. I don't want to use the word weird, but like just different, you know, different than friends or peers, other people that I've come across. And I know, looking back now, I did a lot of masking in order to fit in school, at work, in social settings, but I've never quite felt comfortable. And I was very easily overstimulated in a lot of environments, and just looking back at how I work, how I get things done. So, one thing about ADHD and women, and I've learned this just from doing my own personal research, especially once my therapist brought it up, and then after I was diagnosed, is that a lot of women are diagnosed late. So, your typical ADHD profile that people think of is, that little boy who's in kindergarten or first grade who can't sit still. He's hyper, he's bouncing off the walls, he's, um, difficult to get to focus on anything. Um, and I didn't even know that so many women were undiagnosed because it often presents differently in girls and women. So when I heard ADHD, I'm like, well, I don't really have issues with being hyper, but it's not that. I have the inattentive ADHD, and that's where I have difficulty focusing, difficulty completing projects. Um, you have trouble staying organized. Um, a lot of just a great way to describe it would be having five different radios playing in the background of your mind, and they're all tuned to different stations. So you're like bouncing back and forth between, do I listen to this one? Do I listen to this one? You know, constant just chaos. And, I'd struggle with misplacing things, trying not to forget important information, um, burning food, being running late constantly. That's been something I've struggled with since childhood. Um, yeah, there's a lot of different symptoms that I experienced. And then often women who are struggling with ADHD and don't know that they have it or it's untreated, they develop depression and anxiety as well. Because if you think about it, that's a stressful life to live, especially if you are, a woman who has kids or a spouse or a career. You have a lot going on. People are depending on you. You're juggling a lot. Couple that with all the chaos that's going on internally, it can be a lot. You know, the world is not created with neurodivergent people in mind. And I actually had one of my children was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder as well, and relatively later. And that's also, on a spectrum. So it doesn't necessarily always look like what you would expect. And I think that in communities of color, it's probably even less likely to be diagnosed because, certain traits can be dismissed as being difficult, being not well behaved, just being weird, being just, like I said, disorganized, or, whatever people want to label you with. Um, but it's not necessarily that. That is a symptom of what's going on internally. But I think for Black and brown people, that's just not something that our parents really embraced. That, oh, my child could have ADHD, or my child could have autism spectrum disorder, or any other form of learning or experiencing the world differently than someone who is neurotypical. So I think a lot of us weren't given the benefit of the doubt. We weren't given the tools and resources. So we just kind of had to figure out a way to work through life. And we find ourselves as adults now getting diagnosed, now finding out this is what I've struggled with, that there's a name for it, that there are other people out here who struggle with the same thing, who've had the same experiences, that can relate to me, that I'm not weird, that I'm not crazy, and that there's a reason, behind the madness. And I find that empowering. I find it empowering, especially to know that there's things you can do, that it's not something you just have to live with and struggle with your whole life, that there are resources for ADHD. There's medication, there's support groups, you can educate yourself, there's coping strategies that you can develop and make things easier for yourself. And you all know that, as a life coach, um, love and relationship coach, as I was pondering how this has impacted so many areas of my life, being a wife, mom, an employee, a student at one point in time, and just thinking like, how have I made it through to this point? Being 35 at the time that I was diagnosed. I'm 36 now, and like, how did I deal with all of this? How did I make it through and no one noticed? And I didn't even, think that I had ADHD. And I realized how it actually does impact your dating life. It definitely impacts your relationships and your friendships, but also who you decide to pursue romantic connections with and why. And what I loved about making this connection is that it's not just because of happenstance, it's not because you just have an addiction to narcissists or unavailable men, or you're a glutton for punishment, or you're just so hard to be with. There's a lot more to it. And when I realized that neurodivergence, a hallmark, trait or aspect of ADHD is being deficient in dopamine and doing things to seek that dopamine hit, and connecting that to dating decisions, relationship decisions, an addiction to dysfunction, an addiction to things being hard, an addiction to unpredictability, and things that are not necessarily great relationship characteristics. Like, the light bulb went off. And I said, this is another aspect of life and dating and relationships that I really want to explore and do further research on. And then I want to package this up and bring it to my audience, because I really believe that, as I help others, I'm helping myself. I believe in allowing myself to be a vessel that's used for good. I believe in I'm here to help people whom I can relate to. And that there are people out there, women out there, who will see me, resonate with me, and maybe they've heard some things that I share before, maybe they haven't. But even if they have, maybe it lands differently for them hearing it from me than it has from someone else that they may have heard it from. Whether it be because they're more open now, or because I'm saying it differently, or because, what's up?
Is Samson in here?
Yes, he is. But my son. So what really struck me about why I needed to bring this work forward is that someone needs to hear it. That there are women out there who need to hear from me, who need this message, need this information, who are struggling just like I was before I happened upon this information, before I was diagnosed, before I started pursuing the things that have helped me. And it'll help them to hear me talk about it. It'll help them to hear me share, and to build a community with those women who are looking for someone to connect with, to walk alongside them throughout this journey of being a fully grown neurodivergent woman who has either maybe kids or a family, or high achieving, something else that I identify with. I'm relatively successful, in my career, and I have a graduate degree, and I was always a good student in school, but I struggled. But I struggled behind the scenes. And I was the type of student who did my papers like the night before they were due. And even though I was able to pull it off, I was never able to motivate myself to start early, even when I wanted to. And I've been really blessed to have some great jobs and to advance my career over the years. But I also have struggled to juggle a lot of different competing priorities and staying organized and not having 50 emails open at one time and 50 tabs open on my computer. And, when I can hyper focus, it's great. I get a lot done. But when I have trouble focusing, it's a lot of, bouncing back and forth from task to task. And I'm able to pull it off. I'm able to do it. I have for years. I've learned how to get done what I need to get done. But the the flip side is, at what cost? What stress have I endured privately? Um, what ways have things been harder for me that I've just become accustomed to because it's always been that way? Versus, if I knew the information that I know now, how could things have been easier? How could I have um, adapted or adopted different, like I said, resources, different ways of working, even looked at different approaches to relationships, balancing things at home and work, um, different ways to get that dopamine hit that I'm chasing, but also do so in a healthy way, a way that's not going to stress me out or have me eating chocolate or um, shopping impulsively, or going for these relationships that give you the really high highs and the really low lows, because it does something for you to have what feels in your nervous system like excitement, even though there's pain attached to that excitement. Um, there's so much I've learned and so much I want to share, and I didn't really want today's video to be long. Um, it's late. It's about 9:45 right now, and I mean, not super late, but it's nighttime, and I am exhausted. I've had a long day, so um, I'm going to keep this video brief, but I wanted to film it because this is my commitment to continuing to show up, because I know there are people who need to hear from me. And I'm glad that I took the time off that I did so that I could focus on myself, so that I could focus on my family and getting us the help and resources that we need, so that I could get stable, personally, so that I can be standing on a firm foundation to now come forth and help others, and, reach back and pull, you know, the women who are behind me forward, pass the rope back, show them the way. Um, the saying about putting on your mask before you try to help others. Sometimes people in the helping professions, or people who are coaches, healers, things like that, sometimes we can forget that, even if you do everything right and you meditate and you pray and you disconnect energetically from, being tied to the people that you're here to help. Sometimes we do need to kind of go in a cocoon and take care of ourselves and direct more of our energy inward into our own lives, into our own selves for a season. And like a butterfly, once you are finished in the cocoon, then you can emerge, and you can emerge better. And I feel like that's what's happening here. I've taken, my time away, and I've developed a more solid self care routine, and I understand that, you can't burn the candle at both ends. So I'm going to show up more consistently, but I'm going to do things differently. But more importantly, I'm going to allow myself to bring forth what needs to come through me for you all. So I want to thank you for being here. Um, Moving forward, I am, like I said, really focused on helping women who identify with um, being a high achieving neurodivergent woman. And, um, for the women who are single, a lot of my advice as far as relationships and the coaching and the content is going to be catered toward those who are single, who are looking for a mate, but can also be applied to women who maybe they're in a relationship that they wish would be more solid, or maybe they're even in something committed and they're just having trouble navigating it. It will apply as well. um, as you all know, if you've been watching, for a while, um, I'm married. I've been married. This year will be 3 years. And my neurodivergence, unbeknownst to me, because we've been together for this year will be 10 years, played a major role in how I approached our relationship in the beginning and in the middle. And as time has gone on, and the more I learn and the more I grow, I transform, our relationship transforms, my husband transforms, our family transforms, everything, our community, everything shifts, you know, um, and it starts with a small ripple effect, with me and my increased awareness and the energy I bring and how I approach my life differently. So, there's a lot I can share about the different stages, from dating to early relationship to committed to engaged to marriage to having a family and kids and things like that. And I really have a passion and a deep understanding for the struggles that are unique to women who are neurodivergent. And um, this does not mean, I'm not going to put further labels on it than that. Um, do a little bit of research if you don't have an ADHD diagnosis, but maybe you suspect you might, or even if you think you don't, maybe just take a moment to Google some of the um, characteristics, signs, symptoms, see if any of it identifies, or you identify with any of it. Because, like I said, I was very surprised. I would not have ever pursued testing myself. I would not have ever thought that that was something I was dealing with. But like I said, the realization was life changing. It's not something that I look at as an excuse. More so, the more you know, the more you can grow, the better you can position yourself for success. The more likely you can get the right things that you need. Once you know what the issues are, then you can address them. But if you're ignorant, then you're just kind of going through life, and maybe things are harder than they need to be or have to be because you're unaware. So, if you're high achieving, if you've had a lot of trouble and difficulty in um, creating and keeping a steady, committed, healthy relationship intact, um, if you find you have trouble with codependency, poor boundaries, um, even things like struggling with your weight, struggling to stay organized, struggling to manage your money, being impulsive, um, mood swings, um, feeling like you're emotionally unstable, being highly sensitive. That's another thing I really closely identify with, being, a highly sensitive person. Um, for personality types, I think it's the Myers Briggs test. I'm an INFJ. So if you identify with that, um, again, just someone who's really focused in on relationships, but also very motivated and ambitious to success. And you've been able to achieve success when it comes to your academics, when it comes to your career. Maybe you're a homeowner, maybe you have achieved a lot of accolades, and you have great credit, or you're very proud of the things that you've accomplished, but you struggle in relationships. um, I'm here to help. I'm here to relate. I'm here to share. I'm here to teach what I've learned. I'm here to support. I'm here to be a resource, be a guide, be a cheerleader, be a friend, and be a vessel to be used. You know, I submit myself to God and ask and allow Him to speak through me to help others. And I will continue to show up. I will continue. That was my dog. I will continue to show up and come here and share what's going on for me, share what I've experienced, share what I know, what I think will be helpful with you all, answer your questions, and just be more, consistently present. And I thank you for watching this far. I thank you for subscribing if you subscribed. If you haven't, I would love it if you did. And stay tuned. I do have a Facebook group called the Ladies Lounge. You can find it by searching lovemeetslogic.com. I think I might still have that URL active. Don't get me to lying. You gotta remember to pay for those domains, right? So let me see if it comes up if I type it in. Yes. So still active. So Love Meets Logic. And then let me make sure. Yeah, my femininelovecoach.com website is live. It's active. It's a beautiful website that was made by a very lovely woman named Mindy. She's an awesome graphic designer, great person, great friend, and it's a gorgeous website. So do check it out. On the website, you can find the ways to work with me. I do have 3 pre-recorded master classes, one called Vet Like a Goddess, one called Speak Like a Goddess, and then another one, Clarity, Stay or Leave Like a Goddess. So vet is about the ins and outs of vetting. It's like vetting 101, teaching you, how to properly vet out your partners to avoid wasting your time and avoiding getting too emotionally invested too soon, because that's a very common problem that I see women running into. And clarity is about if you're in a situation that's kind of been ongoing and you're not sure if you should stay and try to work on it, or if you should, cut your losses and walk away and try to move on. And helps you kind of navigate the ins and outs, pros and cons of that, and how to make a really wise decision if you're faced with that dilemma. And then Speak Like a Goddess is about feminine communication. So it's about how to talk to men, how to sweeten and then also make more effective your communication using femininity to your benefit, to your advantage. And how to inspire honesty in men, how to communicate so that you're heard and understood, and inspire the other person to want to know more about what you're saying versus getting defensive, shutting you down, minimizing what you're saying, and just how to use, again, your femininity to your advantage when it comes to communication with men specifically, in general, but, as a love and relationship coach who, primarily I'm working with women who are trying to have relationships with men. This is my material is kind of catered to that audience. So you can find those. They are available for instant download on my website. I also have a free master class video on there as my opt-in. So if you provide your email and join my mailing list, then you'll get that class. It is, I believe it's like 7 steps to manifesting love. And then I also have an application if you'd like to work with me one-on-one on the website. Um, I'm going to be shifting my focus onto group coaching. I really want to work in the group setting. Um, my one on one, I really want to reserve that for a very select few. So I'm going to be very, very selective with one on one clients. I'm going to encourage most people to work with me in the group setting. I find it will be more practical for most busy women who have a lot going on. And one on one coaching is a big commitment. You know, you have to set aside the time to do a lot of that individual work, it's individual calls. Of course, it's a higher touch, relationship. So it's a closer proximity to the coach. But I plan on being very available to the women in my group coaching containers. And I find that being in the community setting is also helpful because you can help each other and you're not going through the journey alone. And then I can show up and be there for everyone at the same time. And then you can watch the replays and, you know, um, like I said, learn from each other. So there's this sense of community and having women who are like minded, who understand you, and you're all learning together. So I think that a majority of clients will be very well served in those spaces. I'm actually considering creating a course as well that would be self paced and pre recorded. Um, because again, if I'm serving high achieving women who are neurodivergent and maybe have trouble focusing, something you can do on your own time when you're ready to hyper focus, when you're ready to lock in, when you're off work or your kids are asleep or on the weekends or whenever works better for you. Um, I want to make that available to you. And again, one on one coaching tends to be a little bit more strict schedule wise. Like you have to have a set date and time that you have your sessions and things like that. And though I will have scheduled times for live calls in my group coaching, I will also have times where you send me your questions ahead of time and then I just come on and answer the questions. So you don't necessarily have to be live and you can catch the replay and then you'll have the replays forever. And, or as long as have access to the group. And then also just having those replays of the classes, I think. Um, I've done a lot of group coaching and I especially enjoy going back and watching replays of classes, modules, things that I've previously learned because I learned something new. It's not just about hearing something one time and then you got it. Like sometimes you need to hear it multiple times over a span of time, for it to really sink in and imprint on your psyche. So, but I love you all. Again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for your patience and your understanding. While I was away, I'm back and it's going to be great. We're going to have a lot of fun, do a lot of wonderful work, and I'm committed to helping you all achieve your goals in life and in love. So I will talk to you soon. Take care of yourselves, and bye for now.